And joining us now to talk about an investigation that he's been conducting since 2011, journalist Jeff Harrell, welcome to the Damage Report.
Hey, how you doing? Thank you for having me.
Very glad to have you here. So you've been digging into a very interesting and somewhat complex case in that area for years now. Can you explain what it is that you found?
Yeah, when I was working for the South Bend Tribune in 2011, I was first contacted by some sources of mine about this young high school student, 16-year-old high school student, a kid named Jiha'd, who was found hanged on a utility tower in an unincorporated part of the county here, and just on the other side of the South Bend line. And when I read the police report, the call came in at 1:42 in the afternoon. They got there at 1:50, immediately deemed the case a suicide. Less than a half an hour later, they were at the mother's home telling her that her son had been found, And while they were at the home, the young man's body was taken to a funeral home without an autopsy, without anything. The case was closed basically that night, and his body was cremated. I don't have an exact date on cremation, but it looks, according to the reports, it was cremated within the next 24 hours anyway. And anyway, it just seemed to me that the whole thing was really, really, really fast, and they just shoved this kid in the ground without any kind of investigation at all. And the mother, I've been in contact with ever since. I mean, she's lived with this now for 8 years, and they just threw it away as a suicide.
And so, as you point out, I mean, she's been obviously bothered by this for a number of years and has wanted answers to the questions that she's had since initially. She feels, from your reporting, like she was not provided with information about what her options were. And sort of the initial period after the death where you could find out what had actually been going on was to some extent wasted by the authorities. And where Pete Buttigieg comes in is he becomes mayor within a year of the death. And so she went to him for information, and how was she received?
She was, well, the local NAACP here was working with her, trying to get answers for her. And nobody was telling her anything. They kept saying it's a suicide. We know a suicide and we see one, and we're sorry about your son's death, but this is the way it's going to be. And in August of 2012, Stephanie and Tom Bush, who was the redress minister for the local NAACP, went in front of this common council here in South Bend, and asking if the council could launch an investigation into her son's death. And Buttigieg was at that same meeting. He spoke at the outset of the meeting. And after the meeting, she approached him and told her, and of course he heard her, he was there during her public portion part. And he gave her his business card and said, call my office. And she called, she tells me she called several times, and every time his secretary wouldn't put Stephanie through. So she was ignored.
And so you've got a write-up about this that's available through TYT Investigates right now. Has the Buttigieg campaign, have they made a statement about this?
No. We reached out to them 2 days ago, and one of his spokesmen said he needed more time with this. And ironically, he said he was working on another query from the Young Turks, and but the simple answer is no. They have not responded to the story.
And so there are a lot of details in this story. Your write-up is quite detailed, and so people should go and take a look at it. But there was one more aspect that I wanted to focus on that seems just a little bit odd. There's a lot about this story that seems odd. And one has to do with the coroner who was initially involved in this case after the death, who had apparently no medical training, and Pete Buttigieg actually gave that person a pretty significant promotion. Is that correct?
Yes. Charles Hurley was a former police chief in South Bend in the 80s. His background was police work. He had no medical training. In this state, you do not need medical training to be a coroner. Welcome to Indiana. And during the police tapes, when the police tapes scandal broke, which, by the way, was my story. I broke the police tape story. But when Buttigieg demoted Darrell Boykins, when the police tapes thing was going on, was first started out, he replaced Boykins with Chuck Hurley, the interim chief.
Exactly. So just an idea of the weird twists and turns in this case. And there are some really interesting details concerning items that were not found at the scene that should have been there. Different details like that certainly merit more investigation. You've been working on this for some time, and we do appreciate the work that you've done on this story. And as you pointed out, other stories that we've actually covered on this show. So Jeff Harrell, thank you so much for your work.
Thank you very much. I appreciate your time.
Thank you. Thank you very much for watching this clip from the Damage Report. If you liked it, don't forget to subscribe to this channel and ring the bell on YouTube to get notifications of our new videos. And of course, you can catch the full Damage Report live every weekday at 1 p.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific on TYT Network on YouTube TV.